I would like to present Dr. Snyder to you.
So I'm a full-time practitioner here in Jacksonville. In fact, I am literally my office is what, maybe 10 minutes from here. So anyway, I love Jacksonville. And let me just tell you about why I do this. So I'm a full-time ophthalmologist, ophthalmic surgeon, Mayo Clinic trained, Johns Hopkins trained. But one of my hobbies and one of the things I am most interested in is how is it that God gave us this amazing body? How is it that He gave us all of these amazing phytonutrients in the world? And how do we somehow, as human beings, screw it up? And so that's really where my love of natural wellness, natural healing sort of came in. And I've been studying this really since the eighth grade. I think it probably started when my mother was diagnosed with cancer, and I was always looking for ways to stay healthy. And so it started with the fads of things like vitamin C and vitamin E and protein and all those kinds of things. And then it sort of evolved into getting extra training in something called anti-aging medicine. And so I participated in a master's level program regarding anti-aging and regenerative health. So it was through that process. And then I just happened to run into Ricky and Francoise once, and we started talking about liposomal technology. And it's everything that I'd always been interested in is how can we get these nutrients into the body? And that's really where my journey began. And so I'm sort of daytime, I'm an ophthalmic surgeon, and then nighttime, I am someone who is trying to convince you to take control of your health and wellness, that it is up to you. We have to quit relying on the medical industry and the pharmaceutical. And I'm here to just give you almost beg you to try to take control. So this is a company that has innovative products. That's why I'm here. These innovative products were designed primarily by Dr. Dan Gubler, who you see on your screen right now. He is one of the smartest individuals that I have ever met. He is a biochemist. He has formulated many different nutritional supplements. One of my favorite characteristics of him, it's not a characteristic, it's in his resume. I read his resume, and he's actually spoken in 40 different countries. And I thought to myself, I don't even know if I can name 40 different countries. But anyway, Dr. Dan's a good friend of mine. He has a huge heart. He will always give you the time of day. And he is right in there, for all of us trying to investigate and figure out what is going to be the next big thing for us. Tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about epigenetics. That is the next big thing. I mean, I thought that our delivery system was good enough. It wasn't. The next big thing is epigenetics. I'm going to share with you some of the results of that study, which shows that our products are very unique. In fact, these products and no other products have ever been shown to do what these products that I'm going to talk about tonight do. So hang on, we're going to get going. So this is our science exploration. We are actively involved in finding new plants. There are approximately 600,000 plants out there, and only about 5% of them have been investigated for medicinal and wellness characteristics. So we are always on the move. Curation is putting these in the right combination and figuring out how we can get it into the body and specifically into the cell where it does its work. And then, of course, absorption. Absorption is really the cornerstone of our products because we do have 11 different technologies that allow these products to actually get into the cell where they can function. We also are very proud of the fact that all 6 of our products are listed in the PDR, which is the physician's desk reference, which is really, if you're sitting with your doctor and he says, well, what are you taking? And then you say, well, I don't know what it is. All you have to do is say, well, they're listed in the PDR, and every doctor on earth is going to know what the PDR is. So we're very proud that our products are listed in the PDR. It just makes it more accessible. It also is sort of a brag point for our company, in that we are of such high quality that we are listed in the desk reference that every doctor has access to. All right, this is our 3 Medicinal Plant Research Institute in Thailand. The one thing that I'm very, very proud of is the fact that this is a pharmaceutical grade nutraceutical company. But it's more than that because we are on the cutting edge of discovery and investigation, and we do the science. And 2 of the best clinical studies that we have continue to sort of catapult us into areas where no other company like ours has ever gone. So I'm proud that we are in the investigative stages. We actually have a farm in Thailand. We're doing research. Dr. Dan is constantly throughout the world looking for new plants. It's more than just plants. We're looking at fungus. We're looking at bacteria. We're looking at plants. We're looking at anything natural. And I'm speaking of natural, we're going to start talking a little bit about some of our products. I'm not going to go into like every ingredient. I don't find that that's something that's going to be useful. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what makes these different and why you need them. I think that unless you understand how and why our products are different, you can read a list of ingredients, but I think I'm going to just briefly talk about why these are different. So this is Vitalite. This is our sort of our foundational nutritional supplement. It really gives you everything that you need. And so if you only had one to take, this is the one that I would pick. And you can see that it has superfood blends. I'll talk a little bit about that. It's got naturally derived vitamins, enzyme blend, omega-3 fatty acid, soft gel. It's got trace minerals, probiotics, and berry blends. All right, so let's talk a little bit about why would you want to have a superfood blend and a berry blend. And it's interesting because when we were designed, God made the fruits and vegetables that are the healthiest. He also made them the most colorful. He also put most of them at the equator. And that's why most of the superfoods and superfruits live there, because they're exposed to very, very high intensity ultraviolet light. So what happens to a human if you don't have sunscreen on and you're sitting at the equator? Well, yes, the answer is you'll get sunburn. So what God has done, especially in the equator, created all these amazing fruits and vegetables, but they have natural sunscreen in them. Natural sunscreen is called an antioxidant. So the plant develops it, it actually absorbs it, it actually turns colors when it's ripe. That is when the antioxidants are the richest, and that's the time that you're supposed to eat them. So we eat the plants and the fruits, and then we get to share and actually have and take advantage of all of the antioxidants that fruit and vegetable has produced. So it's pretty cool. So we have a berry blend. We also have a superfood blend. Now, a lot of people think, well, trace minerals, why do I need trace minerals? For the main reason is that a lot of times I like to talk about water, because water is one of those things that a lot of us sort of take for granted. And briefly, I'm just going to tell you, if you're still drinking tap water, I would encourage you to not. The EPA just released within the last month a study which showed that 45% of the tap water from municipal plants actually was contaminated with forever chemicals. So those are things like vinyl chloride and other things that don't break down that are highly carcinogenic. Okay, so a lot of you out there are thinking, well, that's great. I drink reverse osmosis or filtered water. Well, that's good, except that oftentimes you're removing a lot of the minerals. And so guess what? We actually have put 72 of those trace minerals back in. And the reason those minerals are so important is they really do allow for most of our nutrients to help them get across the wall of the GI tract. Not only that, but they actually are very active in a lot of the enzymatic functions of our body. Probiotics, many of you have heard of that. And we are actually more bacterial than we are human. So you heard me right. So you actually have more bacterial cells in your body and on your body than you have human cells. So there is definitely a reason for the bacteria to be there. And oftentimes we screw that up because we'll use antibiotics or we'll drink things that have pesticides, or we'll eat things that have herbicides. And so anyway, probiotics are put back in. We have 4 different bacteria that are healthy bacteria for you. All right, omega-3, probably one of the most important supplements that you can take. If you think about what is our brain made out of, it's primarily made out of omega-3 fatty acids. It's very, very jelly-like, and if you've ever touched a brain. But in America, we have very, very low omega-3 fatty acid in our diet unless we eat fish. So it is something that does need to be supplemented. I'm going to go back here to one of the second point here, and you'll see it up here, naturally derived. I need to tell you that currently 92% of all of the vitamins that are out there on the shelves, 92% of them are synthetic. Now, none of ours are synthetic. We have 0 synthetic. We have natural forms. These are plant-based derived nutrients, which means they are healthy, which means there's not going to be a mismatch that occurs. Mismatches occur. If you do not give the body what it is used to and what it wants to receive, instead of the key locking like this, that's the way it's supposed to be, it locks like this. So synthetic vitamins do not work as well. In fact, they can sometimes cause some harm. All right, moving right along. This is one of my favorite products. This is Revive. This is one which is highly anti-inflammatory, and it actually is very refreshing to have a product which is going to allow for our joints and our muscles to be relieved of a lot of their discomforts, because curcumin is naturally an anti-inflammatory. So if any of you have used this before, you surely know that curcumin is well known as curcumin, which is also from turmeric. So it is very highly inflammatory. It's highly antiviral, antibacterial. It actually helps modulate the inflammatory process. The problem with it has always been that if you take a curcumin capsule or a turmeric capsule, only about 5% of that is absorbed. So now we have a way where we can actually get it into the body, and not only that, but get it into the center of the cell where it does its work. All right, Eternal. This is one of our Power Pack products. This is jam-packed full of polyphenols, which once again, a polyphenol is what we talked about. It grows at the equator, highly antioxidant, very, 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 very healthy for you to be taking. And it helps everything from health to modulating immune responses. But probably my favorite molecule that is in this product is glutathione, which is our body's our body's strongest antioxidant. And as we age, our body actually makes it, but by the time we hit 50 years old, we make very, very little of it. So what a great way for us to put it back into the body to help neutralize those free radicals. It also has collagen. It also has the superfruits. And if any of you are on a statin, you hopefully know that you need to be taking CoQ10. CoQ10 is depleted by a lot of medications that we take. So CoQ10 is something that needs to be replenished into our system. It works at the mitochondrial level to give us energy. Or if you watch television, which I do neither of those. But right now, collagen is a very, very trendy product. Sort of call it sort of beauty from the inside out. We really are starting to realize that when you put things on your skin, it really doesn't do anything except get on your skin. And so collagen is something, once again, that's depleted as we age. And so it's interesting. The way this works is it's micronized, meaning that it's fully bioavailable. It gets into the body, and it actually not only does it start to produce collagen, once it gets inside, it actually teams up with other molecules to help produce even more than what you're actually taking. So fantastic product, very popular. Anybody think immunity is important? I see all of you raising your hand. So yes, it is important. It's important not only for us to not catch viruses or bacteria, but immunity is very, very important for really protecting our DNA. Anything bad that happens to us, it usually attacks our DNA. And so immunity is incredibly important. And as you well know, we've had some viruses that have hit us recently in the last 3 or 4 years. I won't mention his name. But anyway, all of you know that we can modulate our immunity. We can go into the battle somewhat equipped. And there is definitely things like zinc and vitamin D3 and cordyceps and liposomal quercetin. All of these things have been masterfully put together to create a situation where we are ready to battle whatever it is that we need to face out there. All right, one of my favorite products, because we don't oftentimes think about purifying our bodies or detoxing our bodies, but I need to tell you that you need to start thinking about this because heavy metals exist. Heavy metals are probably more toxic in our environment than we have ever thought. We also need to think about plastics, even things like this. Microplastics are showing most likely they're responsible for the significant decrease in sperm counts and fertility in the entire world. And microplastics are a real problem. Things like glyphosate, Roundup, atrazine, these are all still very, very prevalent in our environment. And we really need to do whatever we can to detoxify our bodies. And I mentioned a little bit about drinking water, why it's so important for you to not only filter, but to take and put back all of those minerals that may be missing because of filtration. So this is another fantastic product. So I've hit all six. All six of our products are perfect. They actually complement each other very well because we're filling the tank up, but we're also purifying the tank. So I want you to think that although I've talked probably most fondly about Vitalite because it is sort of the core, the foundational product, all of them do complement each other. All of them can definitely be used together. But now we're going to talk a little bit about epigenetics. And most of you may have heard what epigenetics is, but it's a phenomenal, let me just explain it to you. And those of you that know anything about genetics, bear with me because I'm going to go a little bit slow. But this is a study which was released a week and a half ago. And it was released out in Anaheim, California at our convention. And this is groundbreaking information. But I first have to explain to you what epigenetics is so you can really appreciate what this study showed. And I'm going to probably spend 10 minutes and then I'll be done on talking to you tonight. And I hope that I enlighten you. I hope that what I'm doing in the next 10 minutes is going to show you that, number one, this company is interested in bringing science to you. We're interested in bringing nutritional supplements to you. We're interested in bringing an opportunity to you. But in my book, this is probably the most exciting thing because not only are we finding a way to improve your health and your wellness, but we're actually making inroads as to figuring out what is health and wellness. So let's get right to it. Epigenetics, we've got 20,000 genes that build and grow and maintain our body. All right. So we know that all those genes live in your DNA. Okay. And I'm going to skip forward. This is a really nice picture of your DNA. Okay. You've seen it. It's this strand. And it's amazing. Everything in your body is held on that DNA. It is scripted. All right. There is a code, whether it's my fingernail, whether it's this hair, whether it's my liver cell, everything started with one strand DNA mixing with another strand from your mother or your father, and that entire roadmap and everything that's turned on exists on those 20,000 genes, deciding what color your eyes are, deciding how tall you are. It all exists there. And that's all being held together on the DNA. Okay, so what's epigenetics? Epigenetics is the switch that turns certain genes on and other genes off. All right. There are 4 ways to turn on and off genes. Okay. And so remember this because this is really vital to your health. Number 1, exercise. This will help you to turn on the good genes, turn off the bad genes. Nutrition. Obviously, we're talking about that because we are a nutritional supplement company. The environment. We've talked about heavy metals. We've talked about plastics. We've talked about atrazine, even things like cell phone and a lot of electromagnetic radiation. Those are critically important. They can turn on and turn off the bad genes. And this is my favorite. Number 4, love, social, and meaningful relationships. We know that if you love and receive love, you will live longer. We also know that you will live healthier. Now, I love that one, not because it's love, but because think about it. Why would God have even encoded love into our DNA? But he did. And we know that it makes a very, very real change in how long we live and how well we live. All right, we're going to get into it. And I'm only going to talk about 2 of the proteins that were actually shown to be upregulated. And I'm going to briefly talk to you about what this study by Dr. Dan, what he showed. So what we did is we took human liver cells, bathed them in physiological concentrations of 4 of our products. And then what we did is we did a baseline measurement of certain markers. And then after they had been bathed in our products, we then took a second measurement. And this is what we found. Now, the first one, and I'm only going to talk about 2. This one is called interleukin-6, IL-6. IL-6 is probably one of the most important inflammatory markers because it's a sort of generally we would say it's bad. You do not want a lot of IL-6 in your body. It can cause things like autoimmunity. It can rear up when you've got a bad cold. So it doesn't necessarily always do bad things, but for the most part, it comes on when you have a lot of inflammation. And inflammation, as you know, causes things like, cardiovascular disease. Anyway, interestingly enough, look at these results. Eternal had the power to actually decrease IL-6 by 1,250%. Revive decreased it by 123%, and Vitalite by 112%. So you can say, well, what does that mean? What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that our products actually are able to penetrate the nucleus, get into the DNA, and modulate, decreasing the bad form of this interleukin, which is interleukin-6. The second one I want to share with you, this is called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and this is important for brain function and nerve function. And real briefly, look at this. Vitalite increased it by 840%. Collagen actually increased it by 570%, and Revive increased it by 430%. Now, I can't tell you what this is going to do in a human, but we know that things like autism, things like Alzheimer's disease, things like any kind of a neurologic, possibly even things like neuropathies, we know that brain-derived neurotrophic factors can play a role. So we didn't do the human studies, but we did a human cell study. I cannot make any claims what this is going to do in a human body. I need to make that very clear. But it's exciting to see that these products were able to actually penetrate the nucleus and had an amazing effect in increasing these proteins. That is the story about epigenetics. And that's why these products are so exciting. Not only, number one, are they highly bioavailable, number two, they're amazingly intuitive the way all 6 of our products work together. And lastly, we know that they have the ability to up and down regulate genes. And that's exciting because we've never really known exactly what these products do until now. Now we know that they actually probably don't have much of an effect on their own, but they're actually able to go to the master plan, turn on the master plan, and hopefully allow for us to receive the ultimate wellness. So on that note, I am going to send it back to Francoise. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. And thank you so much. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Okay. Well, that was phenomenal. Always love hearing from you, Dr. Snyder.